Jill was getting 1-star reviews on her books, and in addition, her readers were unsubscribing from her list and marking her emails as spam. So maybe people and her readers just hated her, or maybe not. And that's one of the reasons why in today's video, we're going to discuss 3 things readers hate, and number 1 might surprise you. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. So the thing is that Jill, she's a writer in New Mexico, and she writes 2 types of books. She writes cozy mysteries, the type that have like cupcakes on the front and they're trying to solve these mysteries. And she also does gardening books, specifically vertical gardening books, because these are 2 of the hobbies she has. She actually even pulls them a little bit together, because in her books, the person who solves the mysteries, the main detective, is also a gardener. So it's able to sort of bend them and push those 2 things together a little bit, which you also see on the cover in her books. The problem is she wants to get more people buying her books and joining her email list so she can tell them about her gardening books and her new mystery books that she would be coming out with. The challenge and the reason why she wasn't able to get this to happen was that she was getting terrible reviews, and in addition getting these complaints that were coming in as spam for the emails she's sending out for people who joined her email list. And she was getting them to join the email list by giving away a freebie in her gardening books of a little reference guide to how to get your vertical gardening going, and also on her cozy mysteries by having a short story that she gives out. And then when they would join, they would get onto her email list so she could market and tell them about her latest gardening and cozy mystery books. The thing was, she was talking with her friends and they were doing a lot better. They weren't getting the same level of hate, and they weren't getting these 1-star reviews she was getting for the formatting issues on her book. And so she began to wonder that maybe she wouldn't even, if she continued getting this, it wouldn't even bother to put out additional books on the cozy mystery or these other books if people were really just going to hate whatever she put onto the market. And that was an issue that Jill was facing here. And she began to doubt a little bit upon whether she herself was even good enough as a writer to get her books onto the market. So she came up with some plans. The first thing was she decided to take her Word document and make a few minor adjustments and send it back through Calibre in order to get it done for free as an ebook, where it would just do the automatic formatting and putting in an ebook. Now, she had of course done this before. She'd also used, I think it was Draft to Digital, in order to automatically put it through their thing. No, it was Smashwords when that still existed, through the meat grinder, and then it would spit out an EPUB version that she could put onto Amazon in order to get her book formatted for free. So that was her first thing. The problem is that the end result was still had the same formatting issues, both the bullet points and all this extra text. Word adds a lot of stuff, and these free programs do not have the ability to properly get that formatting done, so people were complaining. The second thing she decided to do was, when she would send emails out, she would just mark it gardening or cozy mystery in the subject line, hoping that maybe that would stop people when sending out these mass emails to her email list, that they would stop them from complaining about the emails that she was sending out as spam. But that also had no impact whatsoever, and she was really starting to get a bit demotivated at this point. So the thing is that she had read one of my blogs, and I was commenting a little bit on this exact subject of improper formatting, and she saw I was giving away a free checklist, my free self-publishing secrets checklist. And so she decided to check it out. It's the one you can find right below in the description there. And as she was going through this checklist, she realized she was doing a number of things completely wrong. And that made a little bit of a shift to realize that, wait, maybe it isn't because people hate her, the 3 things that make your audience hate you, but rather it was something else that she had been doing. And so the first thing she came across was this idea of poor formatting. Going the free route on formatting is a terrible idea. Even taking your books and sending it to somebody else to format it is also not a great idea. The best strategy is doing the formatting yourself, and in particular using a tool called Juto, which I offer a course below in the description that shows you exactly step by step how to go through using this tool to get your book easily and quickly into all of the formats you're going to need to do, where you just go step by step and free access to the secret forum that goes through how to do this, where we discuss to make sure 100% get it formatted correctly. And that's the thing that I like to use. I use Juto for all of my books and have never had an issue getting it exactly perfect. It takes a little back and forth, and sometimes you see an error or two, but that was the first thing, which was we need to quit going going the free route on this one, and you need to invest in yourself and understand that your writing is a business, and that like a seed you plant in the ground, sometimes you have to throw and use a resource in order to get it back. So that was the first one. The second thing that readers hate is not delivering on the value promised, and in particular, it comes to her email list. She was sending emails to all of these people, and they were expecting they would get emails related to what they were subscribing to. So if it was the cozy mystery books, they didn't want to hear about gardening. Even if inside the books, her cozy mystery book, she mentions gardening, that's not close enough. These are two separate audiences with two separate problems, and the end result is you water down your authority in either of these areas by trying to hit these niches at the same time. And I commented to her that a better strategy is to break it into two separate pen names, and you simply have two separate email lists. So when we email people and they get an email from us, they know exactly what is going to be inside that email. And this is one of a very powerful tip that so many authors make a mistake when they're trying to write books on so many topics. Just choose different pen names for each of the niches. Even if you personally wrote every book, it's okay. You can have two separate niches. We do not target those audiences with the same material for both of those things. Otherwise, they're going to mark us as spam. And then the final thing, it was that it was the delivery on value, because I noticed that in some of her books, she commented on what the books were going to be about, but then in terms of the actual content, especially in the gardening niche, it didn't actually give the information that she promised in the front. And so you had this secondary issue, which was this idea of making a promise on one side and then not delivering the results on the other side. She wasn't listening very closely to what her readers were saying. Some of the complaints in her comments were not just related to the formatting, it was also related to the fact that she wasn't delivering the value. In reality, her gardening books were not doing as well as her cozy mystery books. And she wasn't as good of an expert with regards to the gardening side either. And so some of the readers were picking up on this, and this was creating a bit of a problem. But she was able to see a lot of these issues. She found it by just working through her way through the free checklist that I provided. And then we followed up with some emails back and forth in order to try to figure out what was going on. So you might just go below in the description and grab a copy of the absolutely free Self-Publishing Secrets Checklist to make sure that you get your book self-published and selling. So that's a very important step there. So the ultimate obstacle she was facing was she was still getting negative reviews coming in. So she decided she purchased my book formatting course and Juto, so she was able to start working through, and she was finally getting it correctly formatted, not with slightly okay or going the free route, which ends up getting you your 1-star reviews, but actually getting it 100% correctly formatted. And she decided to only target the cozy mystery books and stop targeting the gardening books. So she could continue doing both, but moving the pen name over to a different pen name and then really focusing in. It's hard enough to try to master and get your name associated with one genre or niche, but focusing on two is really hard, or 3 or 4. And some authors, since you don't immediately make 1 million sales, you think, oh, I'll just write about this, and I'll write about this, and write about that. You're writing about so many things. It's going to take, as I always tell you all, 3 to 5 years if you're just hunkering down and focusing on one niche. 10 years to make a killing, 3 to 5 years to get things really going. Assuming we've got things are being formatted, we're taking the feedback from the comments that we get from people, we're fixing that in our new books, we're continually implementing the strategies that I teach on this channel in order to make sure that you're doing everything necessary to get your book not only self-published, but also selling and holding that focus. And so she was doing that. And what happened was she noticed people quit unsubscribing at the rate that she had seen them unsubscribing. We're still always going to get the unsubscribers, but now it was a cozy mystery email list. So all of the newsletters were on that subject. Anybody who wasn't interested in that would unsubscribe. And the cozy mystery people were very excited to see about her new books. And so she started seeing these negative reviews. They stopped going because the formatting was correct. She stopped getting the spam comments because that was also under control, which is fantastic. People will still mark you as spam. As long as you're sending out an email on a weekly basis, people won't forget who you are, and they will be okay with it as long as you hold the focus and always deliver value to your target audience. But my question for you today is, have you experienced hate from your readers? If you have, write yes below in the comments. And if you've never experienced any hate from your readers, write no below in the comments, because I want to hear exactly what challenges you're facing. Thanks.